What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I'm your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Steve, we got a lot to get into today. Slotball. It's officially here. 3 games in the books now under Arne Slot. Tons of players have gotten to play in the system. Tons of results. We'll get into all that today. How are you doing this morning, man?
It's a fine Sunday morning.
Amen to that, brother.
I think it's going to rain, actually, today, which will be good for the lawn. But other than that, shout out to Liz. Liz, we hope you recover soon. Probably the most legendary member of the Nothing But Reds channel.
She's got to be up there. She absolutely has to be up there.
Yeah. Always here holding it down.
Thank you,
in
Liz.
Sickness and in health, and we appreciate that. And thank you so much for the super chat as well.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing is my mother is here watching her first live show somewhere.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her.
I love it.
She's somewhere over there.
How about that? Watching it live. Nothing like it. It's much easier. We've done like a couple shows live in person. It's actually a lot easier to do it in person. Wouldn't you agree? There's a lot easier chemistry.
I don't know.
I feel like doing a podcast.
Would think maybe the opposite. It's been a while though. We haven't done that.
It's been a long time.
Years.
Maybe what? COVID might have been the last time.
No, it probably would have been. It would have been 2 years ago in July when I was down at your old place, and you were talking about how I wasn't going to be on the show anymore, and then I slid in.
Oh,
at your previous place.
I forgot all
about
about
that front little table by the door.
Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot about that. Legendary. Yeah, man, this show's come a long way. We've done a lot of, this is episode number 196, bro. 196 episodes.
Are we going to do something special for the 200th?
Probably we gotta. If anyone has any ideas, let us know. Let us know in the chat. Good morning to Max, Rustin, Morali. Java here and Liz. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure you leave your thoughts throughout the show in the chat. Steve, let's jump right into it, man. Slotball, okay? It's kind of like everyone's saying, like, ooh, slotball. It's not really a thing yet, right? It's just kind of like what we've dubbed his play style, right? But it is very clear, absolutely clear, that this man has a style and these players are quickly understanding it. And yesterday, bro, we tore Man United apart attacking-wise. Okay, I'm not going to lie. Man United actually looked really good as well. There were our goalkeeping was just outstanding. I mean, Kelleher, 3 top world-class saves in that first half. And then this other keeper, I can't even remember his name. Gores maybe or something like that. Dutch keeper. Excellent in the second half. If it wasn't for our keepers, it probably would have been like 3-3. But this style of play, I'm just loving it, Steve. And I want to get your thoughts. I know you only caught the tail end of the game, but give me your thoughts on what you've seen against Betis and Arsenal and really just like your analysis of it. I know we analyzed it last week, but I just want to hear like an in-depth thought process from you when you're watching us play.
In-depth tactical analysis, Kyle. That's why I'm here. That's why you keep me around. No, so I think for me, the style of play like isn't a finished product yet, obviously. Like we don't have everybody. We'll know what's going to go on and over the course of the next 2 months. We'll get a really good feeling and sample size about how we're going to play this season. I will say, even though it's just preseason, let me preface this by saying I understand it's preseason. I haven't felt this sort of excitement around what's happening. And I want to be clear, that's not just because we have a new manager. It's not, of course, because we have new players, because we're the only team in the top 5 leagues that has signed 0 players, which we'll talk about later today. I think for me, it's the way the players have spoken about Slot and the style of play in their interviews. They all, and maybe it's because some of them are on the cusp of making the squad or getting loaned out or whatever, they all have seemingly have bought into the system and really love the training sessions and really love Slot, which is exciting. It's almost like a fresh face has reinvigorated these players. When you think about how long Klopp was here, 8-9 years, we'll call it. Those training sessions, sure, he varies things and sure changes things and the squad changes, but overall, we played the same way, give or take, for damn near a decade. And now it's different and it's exciting and they're learning again. And they just seem to have bought in. So with that, it's always nice to get results. Even though it's preseason, I hate losing. I would hate to see them lose. And they're kind of just rolling right now. They're kind of cruising. And yeah, it's been fun to watch.
They're cruising with our second team, basically. I know we saw Kanate for the first time yesterday. I know Jota's getting back in the squad. Gravenberch got in there yesterday, who didn't do a damn thing. But overall, we're looking at a team perform this way, like just not steamrolling, but just rolling past teams really confidently, right? I think you hit the nail on the head with how excited you are with watching this preseason. I've been looking forward to every single game, and I can't remember the last preseason where I felt that way. And I think it's because we got a new manager, right? And I just want to kind of see how he's approaching everything. But we're looking at a team play with literally 80% of our first team out, not playing at all. So it makes you wonder, like, damn, how good can we actually be when all those guys get back? And the team itself is just excited. You can see it. They're very energized to play in this new system. And you talked about how they're still learning and everything. I saw something that said right now from an anonymous source, probably on the side of Liverpool, maybe trying to push this narrative that like Slot's the guy, you know what I mean? Trying to give him a little ego boost, saying that his training right now is the top in Europe, meaning intensity wise, but also just like tactically. He's one of the best right now. And it seems based on the responses from like Gravenberch and Elliott and Carvalho, even though Slot told, hey, Carvalho, get comfortable on the wing, it seems like these players are like buying into it. Otherwise, you would be able to see it, don't you think? You'd be able to see like, man, these guys are, I don't know, but it seems like they're quickly buying into it just based on that epic shift we've seen in play style.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it gives, when you come in with like a new system, a new manager, pretty much new everything aside from players, it gives those guys on the cusp that are maybe just over the line on the outside looking in, it gives them a chance to slot in.
It's just too easy. It's too easy.
To literally slot in for some playing time this year to make a difference. Because if the system's different and the manager's different, he's going to come in with a fresh set of eyes, fresh tactics, and new players that fit specific roles may get a chance. And then I also think on the other side of the coin, the players that are nailed on starters, Virgil, we'll know more about him when he gets back, and starts getting involved. But like Salah, Virgil, Trent, guys that have been here for a while, I feel like this could reinvigorate them as well. We haven't heard as much from those senior players and again, those nailed on first 11 players. But you have the same manager for a long time. You win a lot. You come up short a lot. Things can get stale.
Good point.
So I think for those guys, it can be reinvigorating as well, refreshing, and hopefully that's the case.
You know who looks really energized when he's on the ball is Elliott. But there's one criticism I have of Elliott, and we were talking about this in our group chat. Dude, he just holds on to the ball too long. Against Arsenal, there were like 3 separate scenarios where he did it, but he just looks invigorated. He looks excited. He looks just completely ready to go, especially with him playing more centrally now in preseason. I mean, he just looks great. Another player that looks excellent is Fabio Carvalho, who apparently we've rejected a bid from Southampton for him for like 15 million. That's another thing, real quick, just a little aside. How often have you seen in the media that we rejected a bid of X amount for a player? How often? Just out of curiosity.
I don't think it's often.
It's never. It's almost never. All of a sudden, we rejected a bid from Marseille for 13 million. We rejected a bid for Sepp Vandenberg for 12 million, and we rejected a bid for Fabio Carvalho. All of a sudden, we're just rejecting bids, and we got. To me, it's just I don't know. It might be BS, but either way, Fabio Carvalho to me has been the standout player in preseason. Him and Nioni, and all the commentators say Connor Bradley. Now he's been good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I don't know. It's like, are you watching a different game than me? And Costa Tsimikas has been outstanding as well. He got a goal yesterday. He's showing up. He's looking
what
really
we know what he can do. What impresses me about him is that he's just always there. He seems to be somewhat comfortable with his role as a second or even last year at times third string. But when you give him a chance, he's like, oh yeah, like this guy can play.
Yeah.
He's not an excellent defender by any means, but he's got Virgil right there. Yeah. Whenever he's in, Virgil's right there. So like, it's all good. He can play. He can dribble. He can make runs. He can cross. And I don't want to really dive into this, but it would be interesting to see if we hold on to him long enough for him to take over for Robertson. The thing is, Robertson doesn't seem like he's slowing down. He strikes me as the type of player that will play late into his 30s.
Yeah, he's just getting injured a lot more. He's been very unlucky with the injuries recently. Either way, I agree with you. I think Robertson is the type of player that's just going to play for a while. And there have been links with Tsimikas potentially leaving, but I feel like he's happy here. I really do. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Doug, and I don't think we can afford to get rid of him.
Oyvind, good morning, everyone else who just showed up in the chat. Some people in here saying that we shouldn't sell anyone, but we do need more players. I want to touch on this here. Lyle said Gravenberch looked good. Bajcetic looked good. We've got Endo, Nioni, and Morton as backups. I think we're good. What are your thoughts on this comment, Steve?
Well, I want to actually pin another one I found here.
Okay, pin another one, and then we'll come back to you, Lyle.
It's in the same vein. Here we go. Java here says, I don't think we should bring in new players. We must keep Sepp. For DM, Bajcetic should be number one choice, and Endo as backup choice. I don't think we can bring anyone better than Bajcetic for DM. So this kind of goes hand in hand with what Lyle was saying. I don't necessarily agree with this. I think they're both serviceable players. Endo was great at times last year. It's a new system. The fact that he's struggled a bit in preseason doesn't worry me at all. But the problem with Bajcetic is he hasn't played in a year. And he only played the year before because we were desperate. And he turned out to be pretty darn good for a couple months there.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a nailed-on first choice by any means. We have to, first of all, see if he can stay fit. He doesn't have much experience, etc. There is no doubt in my mind that we can get better players than Bajcetic at DM. Now, whether we will or we won't, I don't know. But, and then Lyle's saying it seems like Lyle is comfortable with what we have. I wouldn't say I'm comfortable, but it could work. I just think it's a big risk if you go in with that.
I agree wholeheartedly with the big risk part. I also don't agree that there isn't an upgrade on Bajcetic. There are definitely upgrades on Bajcetic out there. The one thing I'll disagree with Lyle on here is I personally didn't think Gravenberch looked good at all yesterday. First game back, preseason, I'm fine with it. You know, don't worry about it. No sweat. But he was also playing in that double pivot role. And, you know, I feel like Gravenberch he can play. He's can play all three positions, I think, in the midfield. Given his size, I think Slot really wanted to try him out in that pivot spot. I just don't think Gravenberch is in the right mindset right now. And hopefully that will be reinvigorated under Slot, where he does find that inner motivation to be the player he was at Ajax, right? I just feel like he's in this slump right now where he doesn't quite know where he fits into the teams he's been on, i.e. Bayern Munich and us. And I think once he finds that, hopefully under Slot, we'll get to see the best version of him. Because honestly, he has the highest ceiling. It's like him and Darwin Nunez have like the highest ceilings of these players on the team, but he just hasn't done it for me. And yesterday was more evidence of that. I don't think he had a great game yesterday. But going over to Endo, great serviceable option, as Steven mentioned. Neoni, bro. Neoni. This kid, to me, I'm excited for this kid, bro. I'm gonna die on this hill right now of saying Neoni is gonna jump ahead of Bajcetic and Morton this season in terms of playtime. And if Slot doesn't see it, then I must be an idiot, because Neoni has been the best quote unquote youth player that we've put out there in preseason. He's unbelievably confident on the ball. He passes like last week we talked about, like Thiago. He's just, yesterday he played a little bit of a different role. I think he played a little bit wider yesterday when he came on. But damn it, man, against Betis, holy crap. I was like, this kid is special. But I also thought that about Leighton Clarkson, and look what happened to him.
I want to revisit the Gravenberch scenario. So I obviously didn't get to watch the whole game yesterday. I watched some of it, some highlights, and then I also like to go on and look at player ratings and see like what the Liverpool local news reports about player ratings. Everybody said Gravenberch was fine. So maybe you saw something different, but here's the thing about Gravenberch. There's no doubt he's got a high ceiling. I think because of his athleticism, maybe we say that. But at the end of the day, if you say, what is Gravenberch good at? What is his main strength? You might lean towards like carrying the ball, driving forward. But like every player, I'm like, oh yeah, this person's good at that. This is why this person will play. I don't have that with Gravenberch. He's like a multi-purpose utility player to me.
Exactly.
He doesn't have a strength. So for me, he'll get in if we rotate or if we have injuries, because he doesn't have a skill set that fills any void or provides anything that we don't already have in players that are higher on the pecking order than he is. So that's my thing there. I'd like to keep him for depth, of course.
Oh, he's
I think he will play. I think he will play, but I don't think he's got much of a role.
He doesn't. And that's goes back to what I was talking about. He needs a defined identity. I think he just needs to find his identity, you know, and he's very young too. I mean, he's probably not mature enough to realize that, you know, like if you look at like an Endo, for example, right? Or a Milner, once you get into that age range, you know, you realize, look, this is my role in the team. I could be playing right wing one day and then left back the next. I'm okay with that. I'm going to go out and I'm going to put in 110%. I think Gravenberch just has this idea that he's still a wonder kid. And because it's not working out for him, no, seriously, listen to me for a second and you'll agree. Like, he has this idea that he's still a wonder kid. And so he's wondering, he's like, what? He's wondering, why am I not, you know, one, playing, you know, the way I did at Ajax? Two, why am I not getting the same play time that I did? And three, when I do play, why am I not excelling? And I think once he matures enough to realize, like, I actually have to like work my ass off, try to better myself, I think we're going to see the best version of him, but he's still super young. I just don't know if he's reached that point yet. And real quick, thank you to Liz for the membership, and also shout out to Verma here, new wrong one. New subscriber to the channel. Thank you for being here. And
hey to Doug. What's up, Doug?
What up, Doug? And I had another point I was going to say, but we can move on from that. I just like Gravenberch for the depth, like you said. He's a much better option to have if someone goes down than, say, a Morton or a Bajcetic or a Neoni, for example. But where is he able to play a holding spot and a double pivot, or do we need another 6? Is he good enough to play forward and create chances like Elliott or McAllister or Soboslai? I don't think so. And, you know, it seems like maybe this box-to-box midfielder might be going away based on the play style we've seen over the last 3 days. So, you know, unless Gravenberch can kind of hone in on what skills he needs to improve, whether it's more progressive attacking play or more holding pivot distribution. I don't know if we're going to, see him excel in this team.
He costs $40 million. He's played at the first team level. He's played about 150 matches. He's played in 150 matches. He's got 8 goals. If you said to me, is he more attacking minded or defensive minded? I'd probably lean towards attacking, but he's not scoring.
Me too.
He's not really assisting, and he's not really defending.
He's box to box.
What's he doing?
He's box to box.
Exactly, which I feel like at times Endo was, or Genie was, right?
Genie. I miss you,
we'll
Genie.
See.
I miss you, buddy.
He's only 22. He just turned 22 in May.
He's so young.
So
we've been talking about Gravenberch since he was 17 years old, guys. 17. I remember being linked with him when he was 17. And I'm just thinking to myself, we don't buy 17-year-olds. Right? Bayern took a chance on him when he was, 19? What are his stats at Ajax, by the way, Steve? Is that what you were looking at?
Yeah, 7 goals, 72 appearances. I don't have assists here. But
that's
Bayern.
Yeah.
See, Bayern bought him for $18 million and had him for 1 year and sold him for 40.
I thought they had him for 2 years.
22, 23. And then we bought him in 23.
Oh, that's just legendary business right there.
So they fleeced everyone, and they may have seen this. Maybe they saw this. The difference is, like you're saying, why am I not excelling when I was excelling at Ajax? Well, you're playing against scrubs.
Yeah.
Over there.
You're playing
against the Bundesliga, which is like one step up. Didn't do much. And then we get him for 40. I think at that time, we just saw that he was on the outs at Bayern, and we took an opportunity. And I don't even care about the fee. Like, that's what players like this cost with this potential. But we'll see. I don't want to spend too much time talking about Ryan Gravenberch. But
I just wanted to bring him up because he's one of the players, in addition to Fabio Carvalho, who we can transition into next. I love the fact that we bought him. Right? He's one of those high ceiling young players that we usually, at least since I've been watching the team, don't go out on a limb for. Right? We usually don't. I mean, you look at, like, for example, Kamavinga, right? Linked with him, didn't really take a huge chance on him. I could probably think of some other players if I gave it some time, but overall, I love that we got Gravenberch. But you're right. Maybe Bayern saw the writing on the wall, and that's why they said after a year, hey, see you later, buddy. So transition into Fabio Carvalho, just to give everyone some backstory, right? From what we know, it wasn't necessarily a Klopp signing. It was more of a executive staff signing, whether it was to flip the player or whatever the case may be. Carvalho has been one of the standout players this preseason. 2 goals so far this preseason. He's started every single game. He's playing out wide, sometimes drifting into the middle of the pitch. Carvalho himself says he's better as a 10, right? He said that in multiple interviews when he was at Hull, Leipzig, and even this preseason. He said, I'm better as a 10. But Slot has really tried to push him to get comfortable out on that wing. And I think he's kind of shown that this is what I like to see. Carvalho is playing in a position he isn't comfortable with, nor does he necessarily want to play in, but he's still pushing himself to play well, and that's manifested yesterday and against Arsenal with the goals, right? Okay. Gravenberch needs to do the same. I think Gravenberch and Carvalho are on that same plane of, look, you guys got to just take what's given to you and make the most of it. But Carvalho, to me, I would love to see this man succeed, bro. But I just don't think with Jota, Gakpo, Diaz, once all these players start coming back, he ain't playing. It's just not happening unless we're in the cup. And that's just, man, it's just very sad. Very sad. And we might loan him out again. Who knows?
Yeah, man, I don't think anybody knows what's going on there. He's certainly worth more than 15 million, though.
Oh, yeah, the Southampton bid for 15 is kind of insulting.
I mean, he would be their best player.
I don't know about that.
Dude, he might be their best player if they get him.
You think?
It could. Look what he did last year.
Yeah,
Is Southampton down? Where are they? They back up?
I don't know where Southampton's at.
They went down.
Yeah.
But are they back up?
Dude,
Ipswich is up. Leicester is up.
Who else is up?
Either way.
Whoa, boy, not him. With the hottest take of the century. Whoa.
Yeah. So the other thing is, yeah, Jones is not going anywhere. Hey, I have a question for you, Kyle.
Hit me.
As we think about who's coming, who's going, who's staying, who's loaning, who's rowing with one paddle, who's rowing with two. I have a question I just want to pose to the people in the chat and to you. When you think about transfers, okay, there's a couple things to unpack here. One is Slot coming in saying my style of football, because he's obviously a football fanatic. He watches the Premier League. He knows what coaches' tactics are. Do you think he's walking in to the league saying, I have enough players? This squad, you could make the argument, bottled the league last year. And I'm going to bring in fresh tactics. I'm going to use what we have, and we can win the league with this team. Do you think he has that thought process? That's option one. Option two is he's just waiting for everybody to get back to figure out who he's going to sell, because I think The Independent came out with an article saying that Slot now has decisions to make about who he wants to sell. So maybe that's coming before incoming transfers, purchases. And then the third thing is, what happened to the Casado funds? We bid $115 million. We haven't spent a dime since. Or we bid $115 million. We haven't spent a dime since. So
that's funny.
Three things there. First one is Slot. Do you think he just has, and let us know in the chat, do you think Slot's coming into this just saying, I got a good enough squad. Let me see if I can do this without buying success to some extent?
Oh, man. The evidence would suggest he might be doing that, Steve. However, I've also seen articles saying that we're just very opportunistic, And guys, we went through, we revamped our midfield all last season. Wait for this, without Michael Edwards. Okay. So we bought, was it four total midfielders?
Gravenberch, Endo. No, Gravenberch was earlier, I think. Wasn't he?
No. Gravenberch.
Endo, Soboslai, McAllister. At least three.
Okay. All without Michael Edwards. Okay. That's a lot of money spent. I know we had a lot of outgoings. A lot of money spent.
It's not that much. It's only $100 million.
No, I know. But just bear with me. Okay. Now we got Michael Edwards back as like the chief operating officer, whatever the hell he is. Okay. And he's just sitting in the shadows. Just like, nope. Reject. Nope. No movement on the transfer front. Okay. We know that Slot isn't as involved in the transfer aspect, and it's not meant to be involved in the transfer aspect as Klopp was. He's more of an on-the-field coach, manager. He will consult with Richard Hughes or Phil Hughes, whatever his name is, the guy from Bournemouth, once the decision has been made by the staff. But ultimately, he's in charge of the players on the pitch, which is a good thing. But that, to go back to answer your question, I don't think Slot is really concerned at all with if he needs more players or not. I think Slot's just like trying to figure out what he has right now. So far, he's doing really well with what he has. I don't think he's necessarily scared or intentionally trying to go into the season with just the squad he has, saying like, oh, this is going to be good enough, or, oh man, I need more players. Like, I don't think it's either or. I think he's just trying to figure out what he has. And if he does need something, he'll go to the board and say, hey, get me this. I think we have enough players to go and challenge for a league title, right? I would love another 6. I'd love a center back and probably another winger, like a right winger, would you say? It's probably the player we need because we got 826 left wingers.
I would love. Oh boy, not him. I'm not going to pin this, but he says we need a left back, right winger, center back, and DM. I think the last thing we need is left winger or left back. Like
he didn't say left winger.
No, winger. I know. I'm saying we don't need a left wing, like you just said. We certainly don't need one of those, and we certainly don't need a left back. Robertson, Tsimikas, Gomez. We don't need anything over there. Now, here's what I think. We need another central defender because I think we're too thin there.
We're too thin. Just one body too thin. One body.
You need 4. You need 4. I want 4. But we've been running with 3 for so long. Gomez, Matip, and then Virgil before Konate came in. That was the 3. Virgil, Gomez, Matip. And we challenged for everything. And then Konate came in and then we had 4. And then it was like, okay, Gomez, we don't even need you anymore. Go play left wing. Oh, left back.
Left wing. Yeah.
Is Sepp Vandenberg, but now we have
No, Sepp's gone, bro. I've made the decision. Otherwise, we would have seen him start.
All right, well, listen. So now we have, is Virgil, because my thoughts on this change every day, is Virgil, Konate, Kwanzaa, Gomez enough?
I don't see Gomez.
For 90% of the teams in the world, 99%.
Oh, yeah.
It's more than enough.
No, it's more than enough. But I thought you were talking about volume. Like, because I don't see Gomez as a center back anymore. Does anyone else see Gomez as a center back anymore? Because I certainly don't. I see Gomez as a wide back now. That's all he played last season. I mean, he did slot in. This is just going to drive me nuts every time I say slot now. He does play center back occasionally, but I don't see his best position is left back. He balls when he plays left back. So to me, we only have 3 center backs still.
Nat Phillips and Sepp definitely.
I don't see him.
Cut it.
But
a DM, we need a DM, and here's why. Endo is not getting any younger, and he's been great. Bajcetic missed a whole year. What's to say that won't happen again? Jones isn't really a defensive midfielder. We know McAllister shines when he plays more forward. But think about the 2 teams that we have to battle. It's going to be Arsenal and City. Both have spent big on central defensive midfielders that are always available, that changed their style of play and brought them to new levels of success. And that's Declan Rice and Rodri. We need a guy like that. We need somebody that we can say is 100% nailed on, sitting in front of that back line as a defensive midfielder. Like, do you actually feel confident saying, oh, Bajcetic is our number 1?
No.
Number 6? No. Or Endo? Like, I don't. They're small.
Well,
neither of them are particularly fast.
Endo more so than Bajcetic, obviously. And seems like
Bajcetic is thin.
Right. So you're
look at Rice, look at Rodri. They are beasts. Look at Fabinho. He was taller.
Well, Fabinho was that guy. Fabinho was our equivalent. Right? But he walked. So we got Endo. Slot seems to want to try to put Curtis Jones back there, which is fine. I just think Curtis Jones is way more of a progressive ball carrier than he is a defender. So you're right. We need another 6, but if we're playing a double pivot, bro, do we actually need a 6? Or will Slot suffice with 2 really good ball carriers that are just playing deeper? Oh, damn, Lovren. Lovren. I forgot about Lovren. We did. We actually did.
And Klavan. But they don't count because that was a little bit longer ago than I'm talking.
That's too funny, bro.
I mean, worst comes to worst, you can put McAllister back there, I guess.
No, we're not going back to the days where we put a central midfielder in defense, bro. I hated those days. Emery, Chan, and Wijnaldum playing center back. We're not doing it. Palacios is the answer. Okay. There's a lot of different names being thrown around right now. And this is kind of what I was getting at here, is the 6 of Klopp is way different from the 6 of Slot. It is. It is. That's kind of my point, Steve. Are you okay with maybe not having a tried and true 6 world class like Rice or Rodri, but having decent pivot guys like, say, Endo and McAllister playing there? Is that good enough right there to challenge for a league title? Endo and McAllister in a double pivot.
100. Yeah, it certainly is.
So we're having
but it's not ideal. Like, we don't want to have to worry. Here's the thing. We don't want to have to worry about who's playing there. That's what the worry is going to be. The worry is going to be, okay, do we have enough depth at center back? That's going to be in the back of everyone's minds, generally speaking. And who's the guy in the 6? You want to remove all question marks. There are no question marks at Manchester City. There are no question marks at Arsenal. In those positions, in most positions. I would love to have Declan Rice, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I know. We really wanted Declan Rice. That would have been really good, but
he's just too expensive. But he's so good, and he's going to be so good for the next 10 years.
Yeah, the price tag was a little steep. However, there needs to be a good price tag and a good player available, which clearly there isn't. Now, one comment I did want to bring up.
Kimmich, Kyle.
Who? Kimmich? Yeah, he's 29. Yeah. He's 29.
So what?
All right. This is from Red Chobby. FYI, we needed bodies to fulfill the USA tour dates. Guys will move this week. And this is a great point, and I can't validate this or not, but I'm going to take you at your word, Red Chobby. So it's your fault if I'm wrong. But this is kind of an aspect you don't look at. If you need bodies to fill a tour, there's going to be some movement this week because we're done with the USA tour. We take on Sevilla, I think, on the 11th at Anfield. And then we have another closed doors match against, is it Las Palmas or whatever that team is that just got added? And so we're going to see a lot of movement because we have over a week. Bye, Liz. So, Steve, if we have a lot of movement, it's obviously going to be some young guys. And then the question becomes depth, right? Because right now we're making the argument, yeah, we have plenty of guys. We have enough bodies to challenge for the league. But once guys make moves, loan moves, whatever the case may be, then do you just ride it out on just a thin squad?
I don't think we're thin. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's literally
no. Once we loan guys out.
Well, we're not going to loan out anybody that's important.
Okay.
So I don't think it changes anything. Okay. Vandenberg is a question mark. Carvalho is a question mark. Those are two guys that maybe could skirt. I mean, Carvalho, I think, would get some minutes. I think Vandenberg would play in cups and stuff. But those are the only two guys that you look at and you're like, okay, they have a chance at playing. Kinda. And if we move on from them, then do we need to fill those gaps? I would say for Carvalho, no. For Vandenberg, probably, because we need a center back either way. Here's my fear. And I do think guys will move this week. So great thought process there. My fear is we play a match and Ibu pulls a hamstring and Van Dijk picks up a knock and he's out for like a few weeks. Or like Kwanzaa, who knows? Little knock. Then we got Virgil and who?
Gomez. Right. And that's fine.
But then what?
Exactly.
That's the problem.
This is my biggest fear, Steve. Midfield, we have the depth now. Even if you loan players out, we still have some depth, especially if we're playing like a double pivot, right? It scares me if even just one center back goes down injured. It's terrifying because the amount of games we play throughout the season. And I think this year the new Champions League format where you play 10 group stage games.
I think so.
That's terrifying. That's 4 extra games you got to play. It's absurd. It's just a lot of games. And Max says, yeah, we'd be doomed if that ever happened. It's happened every year for the last 5 years. And we just refuse to get another center back. Oh, we play 8. My bad. Okay. Champions League, 2 extra games. Carabao Cup, FA Cup as well. We need depth. Scary, Steve. Give me another center back, please.
Yeah, if nothing else. But again, there's so much time. Everybody's fit right now. So if you're going to take a little bit longer to get the right guy, that's okay. But once that window closes, they push you off the dock. You're floating out to sea for 4 or 5 months with no chance of bringing anybody in.
No life preservers, bro.
Do you want to be out there in the middle of the ocean, Kyle, with one paddle just spinning in circles?
No, especially not without a life vest. Absolutely not. One big wave comes over, you're done. See you later. You can only swim for so long before your muscles give out. You know what I'm saying? And then you're drowning. And the league title's going with you.
So here's the thing. The Gomez situation. The bid, the deal that fell apart. What's up with that?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was reading
Newcastle and Gomez, $45 million.
Yeah. Okay. First off, for us to try to do that, I'm mind blown. I mean, I know Michael Edwards personally. Him and I have dinner every night together. Okay. For him to think it's okay to offer Gomez and 45, was it Gomez and 45 million, or was it transferring Gomez for 45 and then the remaining we pay for Gordon? Regardless of what it was, to give away a defender.
Yeah, then we would have paid like 30 or something.
To give away a defender. Not give away, but to sell a defender for a position that we have the most depth in is an absurd deal for me. Ridiculous deal.
Maybe he's thinking about something like this. Okay. What if he's thinking about, and who knows? But like if I was him, I might consider something like this. Gomez, 45 to Newcastle, pay an extra 30, get, what's his face?
Anthony Gordon.
Diaz, 100 million to Barca. Then take those funds and buy someone like De Ligt. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Something like that. Maybe they're thinking of a move like that because it doesn't make sense to move Gomez and get Gordon unless you're pushing somebody out from left wing. And then in that instance, you have funds to get a center back. Gomez, they may view Gomez as a center back body for depth, but not good enough. They may be thinking we could bring someone in to challenge Konate for that spot.
Yeah. Java here says there's no way we can sell Diaz for 100 million. I'll tell you what,
I would beg to differ. He cost us 60.
No, he didn't. He wasn't that much, was he?
I thought he was.
No. I want to
40.
I want to say Diaz was like 45. Regardless, it's still in the 40 to 60 range. You can wager a guess that we're going to buy someone for between 40 and 60 and probably be right. Okay.
So Diaz, the market has gone up, plus his market value on Transfermarkt is 75 million. Players always go for over asking, so let's call it 85.
And you got Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards could get 120 for the guy.
No, seriously.
And
you know what you want about Diaz? We analyze him under a microscope.
Overpays for players too, bro. You know this.
Right. And say what you want about Diaz. We analyze him under a microscope. But globally, he is known as an exciting winger with insane dribbling skills that has the ability to change a match. And his work rate, I will die on this hill, is second to none. He will die out there. He is on Nat Phillips, James Milner, Andy Robertson level with his work rate, to me.
Okay.
Pay attention to that next time he plays, Kyle.
No, I agree.
Think about the cup match where we went into like the one we won last year. How he played like 140 minutes. Sprinted the whole time.
No doubt in my mind his work rate's there. Okay. But let me ask you this. Whose work rate's higher, Nunez or Diaz?
Diaz.
Chat, what do you think? Whose work rate is higher, Diaz or Nunez? Okay. And before I comment on it,
South American players are different breed, man. They love the game.
They do. They just flat out love the game.
Play.
Look, I am not against selling Diaz, right? But then the only downside is if you sell Diaz, right? Let me ask you, do we have enough depth in attack if you sell Diaz but don't get another attacker in? Right? Because then you have Jota, Gakpo, Nunez, Salah. Am I forgetting anybody? That's it, right? 4?
Yeah.
4. Okay. To me, that's not enough. I like having 5. That's why I'm fine with it. We haven't really brought it up. I like having 5. All right. Wow, Diaz? Damn. Okay, Steve, I guess you're right. And Verma said both do everything they can on the pitch, but they can't find the net. Neither of them can find the net, bro. Except I would argue Nunez is better at finding the net, actually. But yeah, Diaz, his work rate is pretty good. Ramsey says equal work rate. Okay, all right, so you're right. So I don't know if I'm behind the going back to the original point, selling Gomez and getting in Gordon. To me, that doesn't make sense unless we do something like you said, you sell Diaz for $100 million and then you go and buy a defender, which would be a great business model. Honestly, that would be a great approach to the transfer window. But De Ligt, really?
I don't know. It's just a good guy that came to mind. I think about a guy that's been like tossed around in transfer rumors, who's young-ish, plays for a big club.
Fair.
Like, how many guys are even in the conversation to challenge Konate? It can't be many.
Yeah. The thing is, if you're selling Gomez, right, you're trying to bring in a caliber player of equal or slightly more, right? Because you don't want to bring in a player that's going to step on the toes of Konate or Van Dijk, right? I'm assuming that's what you were thinking.
I think we need someone to challenge Konate.
Okay, so let's say challenge.
And Kwanzaa can, for sure, and he's played better than I think he was better than Konate last year. But at the end of the day, we need another one.
So I couldn't name one, but the thing is, De Ligt's been tossed around Europe. I don't know how good he is. Right? If you look at other defenders we've been linked to, there might not be an option out there that is an upgrade from Gomez, because Gomez has been with us for so long. He can play at a high level. He's played at the highest level. I just think that his best position is out wide as a wide back, even though he did have a great season next to Van Dijk. But Kwanzaa was unexpected, guys. I think Kwanzaa stepping up last year was one of the most unexpected things, and it's great. It's good. He is now the number 3 option. Kwanzaa, to me, is such a good player. Excellent on the ball. Great defender. We've seen it all preseason. We saw it all last season. Kwanzaa's set in stone. He's number 3. So now the question mark is above Gomez. And, of course, Sepp Vandenberg and our boy, Nat Phillips. See you later.
Nat Phillips. Yeah. Okay, so Java here, you normally have some great takes. Today you've been a little cold, my man. Except for Coutinho, we couldn't sell anyone at a higher price than we bought them. Bear that in mind. I would argue.
I can name 10 off the top of my head.
Literally. Okay, so let's do it.
Minamino, Robertson. Wait, who? Okay.
No, players that we could.
Oh, we couldn't sell.
We couldn't sell anyone at a higher price than we bought them.
Okay.
McAllister would go for double.
Double.
Harvey Elliott would go for 1 million X. We paid like $1 million for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Gakpo probably higher. Jota. Age, meh. I feel like you could get 50 mil for Jota.
Okay.
Carvalho.
Carvalho, definitely.
Konate.
Oh, Konate. Yes.
Tsimikas. Who else,
Kyle? Trying to think. Midfield wise, we didn't buy Curtis Jones. Neoni.
Did we buy Kelleher?
Oh, I don't know if Kelleher came through the academy or not, but either way, we could sell him. Sepp Vandenberg. See you later.
Diaz.
Diaz. Darwin Nunez might be a tough one.
Szoboszlai would go for more than 50 million right now.
Yeah, but
Darwin Nunez would be iffy.
No, Szoboszlai, I don't think we could get what his release clause was for him right now. I really don't think we could sell him for whatever. What was his release clause? 70 mil. I don't think we could sell him for that right now. Oddly enough, but yeah, I don't know if I agree with this take, Java here. Either way,
Sepp Vandenberg.
And then Steve 2.0 here says Kwanzaa will definitely start ahead of Konate. Whoa, we're getting trolled this morning.
And Aylor said that too.
What? Okay, let's chat about it. I
don't think there's anything to chat about, Kyle.
I want to chat about it.
I don't agree with this.
Guys, I want to chat about it.
All right, this will be the last thing we discuss here.
Okay. I want to chat about this. Dude, let's talk about how Kwanzaa's rise to stardom has been excellent. Okay. Wow. How many? Are you guys all in the same room? Just like, let's troll. Okay. So, chat, real quick. Ross agrees. Wow. Okay, guys. In the chat right now, who's our number 2 option? Just put Kwanzaa or Konate. Okay. So, wow, this is crazy. So, Kwanzaa has been exceptional. I don't see him crossing the threshold yet above Konate. It's Van Dijk and Konate for me. That's not to say he couldn't this season, because Konate has hit a little bit of a plateau, Steve. I don't know if you've seen it, but the potential is there. Okay? We've given him 3 seasons, and I don't think he has necessarily improved a great amount, whereas Kwanzaa continues to impress me every single time he plays. So there's the argument. Okay. Wow. Okay, Ross says Konate at the moment, so I'm at Konate at the moment. All right. Oh boy, not him. Ibu number 3. So he says Kwanzaa. Easy Ollie says Kwanzaa. Can Kiwi says Kwanzaa.
All right, wow. It's Kwanzaa, I guess.
Damn, I didn't know you guys felt this way. Wow, Steve, I need your thoughts.
No. The answer is no. It's Konate still. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
But look, it doesn't matter what we think. All that matters is what Slot thinks. It's a good problem to have. But the problem lies behind them. Who's next? I don't care who's 2 or who's 3. If we're playing in the Champions League final tomorrow, you think Kwanzaa's starting over Konate?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no. That's the question. That's the best question to ask. If you're in a Champions League final tomorrow, who's playing? That's how you know your true starting 11. Okay?
Yeah, but I think a lot of people would still believe that Kwanzaa would play.
Which is
because
fine.
Konate hasn't been great lately. What have you done for me lately?
I agree. It's a little bit of a recency bias, but the argument needs to be made.
Everything's recency bias in this.
Well, that's true.
In this sport. Everything.
Do a poll. I should have done a poll. We'll have to do a poll next week. But I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat. Big numbers today. Thank you for everyone for their input. Okay. We value everyone's opinion, and thank you everyone for supporting the channel, whether it's monetarily or subscribing or comments or liking. It's all appreciated. Thank you guys very much. Steve, closing thoughts right now. Go.
We're going to see some players leave this week on loan. I don't think you'll see many notable sales, but I think we'll see some loan moves. I would like to see Nat Phillips get sold.
It's about
time. I think
he
deserves to go play somewhere. Why are we keeping him around? To get a $2 million loan deal every year? Sell him for $8 million and move on. Or whatever he's worth. I don't even know what he's worth. 10?
Dude,
maybe if 6, 7, 8 mil for a smaller club.
We tried to get him for like 15 or 20 last year. I can't remember what club it was, but they wouldn't offer more than like 10 or 12. And we're just like, no, it's not happening. So, I don't know, bro. I think we value him much higher than whatever teams are offering. And I just don't know if that's smart because Nat Phillips ain't playing. Don't you want a player on the depth chart that if you needed to, you're feeling comfortable saying, okay, you can play?
If he was starting in preseason, then I'd be like, all right, maybe Slot sees something. But he's not. So he's still in the same boat he's been in for the last 7 years. How long are you going to keep holding on to this guy? Maybe for him, maybe he makes more wages here than he would make elsewhere.
Oh, no,
And
that's
like, hey, whatever.
100%.
He's like, I'm not going to go find Champions League glory or first team football in a top 5 league. I mean, maybe somewhere in France he could play.
What, you think Monaco are taking Nat Phillips, bro?
Dude, I just know that the French league is so bad. There's got to be a spot in one of those 20 teams for Nat Phillips. They're so bad. It's so embarrassing. It's pathetic to watch.
Let me just hit you with this as like a closing mental image, okay? It's FC Metz versus Strasbourg in Liga. The camera's going down the line. You get to FC Metz and you see Nat Phillips with the captain's armband for FC Metz. Oh my God. You're muted.
I would shit myself if I was on the other team. He'd kill me. He's a savage.
The league would be like, you're playing too physical.
Yeah. He'd be getting red cards.
He'd be just the highest record of red cards in the history of Liga, bro. Unbelievable. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Steve, thank you as always for being here. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Until then, Reds, take care.